hiding?
Selena, they'll throw your life away.
Don't worry, honey. I got 9 of them.
Well, Matt's amazing because he's really collaborative, you know? He really does want to know what his actors think and feel about the characters. And before I had the part but had read the script, I kind of thought, why not just tell him honestly what I think and what I feel, even though the part's not mine. And what was really important to me is that Selena didn't come off like a victim because she comes from a really troubled past. And I think there can be a little bit of a trap with female characters that come from troubled pasts or are vengeful in some way where they feel like a victim, and I don't think that's who she is. I think she's incredibly tough. And the fact that she has survived this far and the fact that she has the drive that she does. The other thing that I kind of brought to Matt was this idea of stray cats, of strays, and I think that she's a stray herself. I think she looks at Batman as a stray, and I think that's where their connection lies.
Hey, give me that.
I think that's what's so wonderful about this world is, the exploration of the gray area. It's not about black and white. It's not about good and evil. There's just so much in the gray, and human beings are so complicated, and it's so interesting and fun to watch that in-between space and to live in that in-between space.
Hear everything they say, ain't you?
Maybe we're not so different. Who are you under there?
Matt's incredible. Matt is one of my favorite directors I've ever worked with. His dedication to the story, his desire to stay true to what's going on emotionally, and at the same time, he's very technical, and his attention to detail is unlike anything I've ever seen. And he does a lot of takes. He goes until he gets it, and I really appreciate that, and I think especially when you are working with someone who you completely trust and believe in, which doesn't happen all the time, Even there's been moments where, I don't quite understand what he's doing or what he's going for, but I completely surrender to him because I know that he knows what he's doing, and it always turns out fantastic. And he's, again, so collaborative. But I don't think I've ever worked with someone who pays attention to detail like him. He'll tell you to say a line, then take a breath and put your hands down, then finish the line. It's so specific, and this movie is so visual, those things really matter. But it's been really amazing to work with a director who, in such control in a wonderful way, and yet at the same time is so collaborative. He really wants the actors to be a part of the process, make sure they're happy with what's going on. He really listens to an idea, no matter how long he's been visualizing something one way. If someone comes up with an idea, he's always open to hear it, and that's really incredible. It's a true collaborative process, and his love for the story and his intention behind it is the thing that has driven us through this entire project.
If we don't stand up, no one will.
You got a lot of cats.
I have a thing about strays.
It was great, Rob Alonzo and his whole team are just incredible people. Funny story, I've known Rob Alonzo since I was a kid. He used to teach me Taekwondo when I was 7. So I hadn't seen him in a really long time, and then we came back together here, and I was like, I know you. So we've been training for a very long time. But it was great that, he's really dedicated to it feeling real and feeling messy and feeling accurate. We're not doing things that don't feel possible. I'm not wearing shoes I couldn't walk in. If I couldn't pick somebody up, I won't do it. I think it's really about, he's really concerned about it feeling grounded and real and being motivated by emotion, and that's really great.
The bat and the cat. It's got a nice ring.
You a new friend of yours? I'm not so sure.
I lost my mind. I couldn't believe it when we were shooting a scene, and Matt said, he's like, you're not gonna recognize him. And I was like, yeah. And then Colin walked up to set, and I was like, no. I couldn't believe it. And he walked right up to me, and I was looking for Colin in there, and I couldn't I couldn't see him. I still to this day actually, because I've only met Colin a few times outside of this film, I feel like I don't know Colin Farrell. I know the Penguin, I know that guy, but I really only know that guy because Colin's a different person. And every once in a while, I would see Colin leaving after work and be like, who's that? Like, it's so crazy what they were able to do. And then also what Colin was able to do, you know, really bring that character to life with his movements, the way he walked, the way he spoke. All of it, I think what he did with Oz was just impeccable.
You're part of this too. How am I part of this? You'll see.
It's just another part of that, so the handmade nature of everything in this Batman. Like, I like where you can see the construction. It's not like it's alien technology or like repurposed super high-tech military technology. Like, he's built it himself in his basement basically, and it's just, and you can kind of see that. I mean, and you can see him tinkering away at it. Yeah, there's something that Batman's always, I think, quite an accessible superhero, even though he's a billionaire or whatever. Like, there's something, the fact that he's just a guy, I think appeals to a lot of people. And when you kind of get closer and closer to that, and you see that even the Batmobile looks like something he's built himself, and that, you know, if you had the perseverance and the cash, you could build yourself as well. I think it's kind of appealing.
I got you! I got you! Take that, you friggin' psycho! I got you!
I was trying to think of how to describe his style the other day, and it's sort of like watching a conductor of like a really huge orchestra, and where he can, like, you can see, and he'll kind of get hyper focused on tiny little actions, but he seems to be able to keep the entire story in a macro view in his mind the entire time. And so when you're being like, I just don't really understand how he does it. I mean, there's kind of, he'll be looking at the tiniest little thing of like how you put an object down on the table, and you can see that he's trying that, the way you do that movement is moving the entire movie in his head, which, yeah, I don't understand how we have a brain which can kind of keep that in the entire time. Also, to watch him when he was directing basically 3 units at the same time, I mean, it's just like, you really trust it. You can feel how much he cares about it. He's never rushed. Like, you can feel like, you know, he'll only move on when he feels like he's got what he needs for the movie. And yeah, and I kind of isn't afraid to stray a little bit from kind of Batman canon a bit. I mean, there's definitely made some pretty bold stylistic choices, but also like story choices as well. I mean, there's kind of things which I'm not sure if even some of the major plot points are even in the comics or anything. They're just wholly original. Which is fun. That's exciting. It's exciting to see what the fans how they'll interpret it, and how it will also fit into the kind of Batman canon.